Hello everybody, this is Andrew, also known as NatureMan. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all how to revive a sick ficus tree. In this specific instance, it is Ficus altissima. Now, some of you might be like, what the heck is an altissima? It's just the species of ficus. It doesn't really have a common name because it's not common. It really isn't. It's not too often you come around a plant that does not have a common name. I'm yet to hear of one. There actually might be one, to be honest. You all might say, hey, Andrew, this is the common name for it, but I've never really heard it used. I'm sure if you look it up, there probably is some common name for it that's used in some place. But this is not a common plant, so if you give it the common name, people will be like, I don't know what the heck that is. So it's better to just do its botanical name. Now, there are many, many species of ficus, and many of those are used as houseplants. You know, this is the most common. This one right here, this one's also a little sick. It's been shedding its leaves. The main reason, not enough light. And I've been using poor tap water, but I've stopped doing that. I only give it, like, either filtered water or spring water. But the damage has been kind of done on it. I'm trying to revive it. See, this one has new leaves on it. And I've pruned up the lower branches that completely died. So I'm giving it more light now near this window here. But anyways, back to the altissima. This was a beautiful, much more bushier plant when I got it. It was it's variegata. It's a variegated form. You can't really see, but it has some variegation on it. And it was out in my living room out there, and it was not getting enough light, and it started dropping its lower leaves. Now, to an amateur, they'll be like, oh no, I've done something wrong. Yes, you have. It's not getting enough light. It wasn't water, it wasn't humidity, it was light. The lighting is a problem with ficus. They're extremely finicky, whether you're talking about a fiddly fig, a weeping ficus, an ollie ficus, an Audrey ficus, a Ficus altissima, whatever. They're all finicky, some far more finicky than others. Some ficus are world famous for being the least finicky, or not a finicky ficus, but I'll tell you, all ficus are finicky, but some are higher up on that scale. A fiddly fig is pretty high up there, but a weeping ficus is not as high. It's easier and it's a little bit more forgiving, but will shed a lot of leaves if it's neglected significantly and won't forgive you. A fiddly fig, on the other hand, will just completely outright drop its leaves if it's just the slightest bit. This one falls somewhere in between the both. They're pretty forgiving, but if it's neglected for some period, it will not forgive you. And that was my case. It went about a month and a half in low light, and for the first 3 to 4 weeks, it wasn't dropping any leaves. It didn't mind very dark conditions for almost a month. And then all of a sudden, I started noticing brown tips, and I really just kind of brushed it off as maybe I've overwatered it a little bit in the soil, so I just let off the watering, thought everything would be okay. And then what happened? They started dropping those leaves. They started turning yellow and with the brown tips, and they all started falling. The newest growth on top was unaffected and still thriving, but it was all like the lower growth on the stems were dropping. And then I came to the realization at that point that it was not enough light. By that point, it was too late. By the time I realized what the problem was, the plant was already extremely sick. I didn't identify it soon enough. So I'm like, okay, well, the plant is still alive. The roots are still healthy. What can I do? If your roots are still healthy on your ficus, you can revive it. And this the whole point of this video was to show you, but I wanted to just kind of explain what happened with mine first, so you can get a better understanding on how you can fix yours. Now, there were 2 branches, this one and this one, that did drop lower leaves, but were sending out new growth. I had branches that actually I cut them off. You can see the nubs. This one was already initially cut off from the grower, but I cut off this branch, this branch, this branch, and that branch. It's been a little over 2 weeks, maybe close to 3 weeks. It's been a while. The ficus are notoriously slow growing, so taking several weeks, I'm finally seeing new buds because the roots were once supporting these branches that were there. So if I cut them off, the roots aren't just going to die. They're going to try to support sending out new growth to make up for what was once there. So as you can see, lo and behold, if it'll focus, darn it, I hate my camera. You can see there is a bud just on the node just below where I cut it. On this branch as well, right there, right here, right there, and on this one, right there, and right there. So every single limb is forming. Oh, I forgot to tell you, on this one, there's also one on the back side as well. I'm sorry if it's not focusing. The lighting is just very poor. It's kind of glaring. You can see there's one right there and one at the top. One right there and one at the top. So I'm very pleased. So obviously this is going to take a long while to grow, but every single branch has at least 1 or 2 new sprouts that will form new branches. Given time, this will fully bush out again and look new. So that's how you can fix your sick ficus. Now, if it's dead, if the branches themselves down to like below the node is dead, then you can't fix that. There comes a point in a ficus life, if it's stressed too much, you just can't bring it back. But if you just notice it's dropping lower leaves, but the newest growth on the top of the branch is alive and well, just from a lighting issue, then yes, you can fix your ficus. If it's just simply a lighting issue and it's dropping lower leaves, and the top of the tree is fine, then yes, you can fix your ficus, and this is how. But I wanted to show you have to be very, very, very patient, because it is a very tedious process, because like, it took over 3 weeks, and it's just now starting to bud. Because that's how slow growing they are. They don't even realize that they need to send out new growth. It takes like 3 weeks. And finally, you start to see buds, and it'll probably be a few more months at least before this thing bushes out, maybe another 6 months. I don't know how long it'll be. It might be as little as 2 or 3, might be as long as 6 or 8 months. I will update once it is fully bushed out, but bear in mind it could be a few months. Hope this video was informational and helpful to you all, and this is NatureMan signing off. Bye, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.